Hello everyone, this is engineer Hussein Bouhammed, and this video we were gonna present and demonstrate the property management we have. It's already online on our subdomain renter.uniting.com in collaboration with Go Digital. You can use this system and interact with it as you like. Here is the link, and here is the username and the password. You can log in at your leisure and see the pages yourself. So we will go through each module or each page one by one and explain what's available in the system. Here, first of all, you have the dashboard. It can show you total pending amount, total number of properties or units, total number of leases or contracts, total number of tenants. You can see the period billing. You can even change the month if you have more data, period payments, and vacant units, etc. Now we will go through the landlords model. Here you will put the landlords and the landlords only. The system is modular based, and every section is separated from the other. So here you put only the information of the landlords. So for example, you want to add a new landlord or edit a current one, or even delete an old one, or just to view their information. So if we go back to the landlords and see this landlord, for example, and the property that they own, like this, or even add a new landlord. When you're actually adding a landlord, you can also create a user for them, so they would go in and see or follow up with their properties if they want to. So you have to put a password and confirm password as well. This way you will create an account for them, and they log in using the same domain you see here, but they put their own email address and password. Next we have the properties. So here you add new properties, and when you add a property, you have to associate it with the landlord. So it's very crucial that you go through these models on the same order. You first put a landlord, and then put a property, and then you can go add a tenant, and then finally you can add leases. So for example, we choose a landlord. You have to type at least 1 or 2 letters like this, and you choose the landlord and then property type. Here the property types you see, they may look like a fixed list, but you can add to them or modify them in the settings over here. You put a name for the property, you put a code, location, and you define the units within. Residentials and commercial, you can put the unit name. For example, let's say a tall building or a tower could contain more than one office or more than one apartment. Those are considered as units. And you put the unit floor, you put the rent amount, unit type, etc. Even the new unit types, these are not fixed list as they look like, but you can fix them or modify them in the settings. You can put the number of bedrooms or number of bathrooms, total number, square foot, everything. You can put in there. If you want to add any extra fields or you want to modify anything in the system, we can do that customization for you. Once you have added one unit and you would like to add even more, it will allow you to add more like this, or you can even remove. So it's dynamic based on your requirements. We have then the payment settings. For example, if you're dealing with an agent that's promoting your units or properties, and you want to put the agent commission value, whether it's a fixed value or maybe a percentage or of the total rent, or a percentage of the total collected rent, depending on the agreement between you and the agent. The payment method description. Can even add another payment method if you like. Any extra charges that is related to this property, you can define them here. If you have some service fees, processing fees, VAT, or any other type you would like to add, you can add them in the settings. late fees. If you have some certain terms and conditions regarding late fees, you can define them here in the system, and it will do the calculations for you when you want to produce a bill or want to produce an invoice, and so on. You have then the utilities. If you're charging, for example, for electricity or water or anything else, you can define them here in the system as well. Okay. Once you're done defining the landlords and properties, then you start adding tenants. For example, I have one tenant here called Khalid, and this is his information, and you only put the information of that tenant. Later on, you will link the property with the tenant through the leases. So here in the leases, you're actually associating a property with the tenant. So for example, you say I have a new contract or a new lease for the property, let's say in Farwaniya, like this, and for the specific unit we have in there, whatever unit that is, and for certain lease type of whether it was residential, commercial, for a certain amount, and you click next, and then you define the deposit information. You also put the tenant, of course. Here, let's say we want to put the tenant Hamza, like this, so it will be associated with a tenant Hamza. Okay, you go then to the extra charges. If there is any extra charges related to this lease, not the property, but this lease might have some certain terms and condition or extra charges agreed upon, so you can put them here in the system as well. Late fees also associated with this contract or this lease, utility charges, payment methods, lease settings, and so on. If you would like to add any extra sections or fields in here, we can do that customization for you. Go then to the utilities. If you want to issue a utility bill, for example, you usually ask for extra cost for the water or electricity or maybe garbage. So here you add that utility bill. Go and put the property name, for example, and then the utility, electricity, and you put the unit number 6 and reading date, whatever that the date is, current reading, for example, you say this was our reading, and then you save. There you go, you have your utility bill added. Okay, if you want to issue invoices, here it will here you can see the invoices generated automatically, and it will show you that whether it's overdue or when is the deadline. You can download them. If you go here, you can see this template. We can change that template for you if you like. Want to put your header and footer or whatever template you like as a schedule, we can do that for you. Okay, then we have the payments. You can add any payments that happened in the system, whether the payment was done electronically or off the system. You can put it and record it here for archiving purposes, sorry. Then you have vacant notices. If you want to issue any vacant notices and keep a record of that, you would like to put it on the system as well. For example, for this tenant and for this lease, and vacating date and vacating reason, and you click on save. You can try that yourself if you like. You can log into the system and see. Feel free to add any information or delete any information. This is all demo. So here in the settings, you don't have to come back to us as developers and modify some information. You can change the company name, the name that will appear on the system over here. You can change the contact information, the address. Can go and change the settings of the properties. For example, we saw one of the drop-down list having those values, and as I said, they are not fixed list. You can go in here and remove or add any extra options you like. Same with amenities. Here the amenities. This usually appear as a fixed list on one of those models, but here you can modify them. Same with the utilities. We saw that we only had 3: water, garbage, electricity, but here is the master page where you can add or remove any of them without going back to the developer. Unit types, here's how you can modify them. You can also modify the settings of the leases. What would you like to have as a number prefix, or an invoice number prefix, invoice footer, and so on. Lease types, we saw that we had 2: residential and commercial, but in here you can modify them, add more to them as you like. Here in the tenant, you can modify the tenant number prefix, tenant types, whether it's individual or business, or if you want to define a new one, let's say you can give it a name, any name, and the display name could be something else. For example, a restaurant, like this. If you want to put a description, that's optional. So now, if anyone wants to put any tenant type, they will see 3 options: business, individual, and restaurant. And we can see that when we go and add a new tenant over here, you will notice that the tenant type can be changed between those 3 options: restaurant, individual, and business. So we can also have modify the settings of email and SMS. For example, for the notifications, due invoices, new landlord, whether you would like them to be sent by email or sent by SMS, or either one of them, you can modify the action here, like this. The templates, if you want to modify the templates of what's the notification is going to be and how what's going to show up, you can choose the template of overdue notice or new invoice, and you can use the placeholders shown over here and create your own message. For example, hi, first name, invoice have been generated, and so on. Here we have the configuration, of course, for email and SMS. You can modify the information here again without going to the developer or even the source code if you own the source code. For the payment, you can add payment methods. For example, you want cash and other methods as you like. And here we have the users and permission or user and roles. Right now I only have 1 user in the system, and you can define new roles. For example, I want a role of assistant which has, or a role of accountant which has only 3 permissions out of 34 permissions available in the system. So what are those? You can see here he have the view invoice and view notice permission and view payment only. The rest he cannot access or he cannot see. And you can create a new role if you like. You create a role and then you modify or assign permission accordingly. Okay. Next, if we click on cancel here, next we have the permissions. Those are all the permissions available in the system. If we view 100 of them and there's only 34, those are the permissions. Okay, you can edit just the display name. If you would like certain permission to be created or made, you have to go back to the developer, which is us, and ask us to do that permission for you. Finally, we have the report. You can generate any report you like for any property. If you want a certain template or a certain report to be generated, we can do that for you. For example, for 1 year November download, it will download the report accordingly. Okay, if you want certain information to be shown up, everything is saved in the database and we can extract it or view it for you in any template you like. You can even generate general ledger over here. For example, for this property, this is the general ledger. You can view them or you can download the PDF. You can even download the journals or any type of information or reports that you or your marketing team or your public relations or your accountant needs. We can do that for you, definitely. We can sit with you and gather the information or the customization you would like to do. For example, we did it here with one of the property management companies here in Kuwait, and we took screenshots of the system, and we gathered all the information that he would like to do, or all the customization that he would like to do in the system one by one. And what you see actually here is an accumulation of customization we did for many property management company or real estate companies. So the more you request ones, the more the system come close to perfection, and we would be happy to do the customization for you. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, you can contact us anytime.